And our subcommittee that has been working on the cost of the curriculum has done a fantastic job. We've worked on very many frequencies. We have crunched data, worked back and forth on it. And the time we complete this exercise and begin implementing the new curriculum, we will be taking decisions that we know we can live with.
This is KTN News.
And welcome back to Worldview. Thank you very much for staying with us. Remember that this is a special coverage of the Jubilee primaries taking place across the country. And we're asking you on our Twitter poll, do you think the Jubilee primaries will be credible? That is our Twitter poll. Quite a number of tweets coming through. And in a few minutes, I will sample them. But we'd like to hear your thoughts on this one. Do you think that the Jubilee primaries will be credible? That is the question. So we continue with our coverage here. Remember, we have our team on the ground. But here in Nairobi, Jubilee Party has dismissed all the complaints from aspirants, declaring that the exercise will continue as planned. The party Secretary General Raphael Tuju says no aspirant has any power to postpone voting. Let's listen in to what he had to say earlier on in a briefing.
Some of the aspirants have been used to a process which is not controlled. They're discovering the last minute that we have a very controlled process, and therefore they're having problems accepting that. Where the number of voting material is less than 50%, we need to hear that report, which station, which polling station, and we'll check with the figures that we have, and then we'll be able to respond. In fact, we do have backup measures. We have up to 8 choppers on standby to go to all the counties that may have these controversies, and we'll add materials which can be used instead of the ballot papers.
All right, so that was Raphael Tuju talking about the primaries earlier on. So let me come to you, Abel. Do you think that the party set themselves up for failure? It's a question that I asked him earlier. But putting all these nominations together, should they have staggered them a bit more? Would it have been easier when it comes to the logistics that they're facing challenges with?
Yeah, I think when it comes to a popular party like Jubilee and ODM, of course, in terms of locations, of course, they're not popular all over the country. I think the best could have been to stagger the nominations, maybe up to, let's say, like 5 days or 6 days, so that they do it in piecemeal. In that way, they could have been able to manage very tightly the process. Now, doing it at once, of course, means they're going to be facing the kind of problems they're facing now. And that means some candidates won't be satisfied, some aspirants won't be satisfied with the outcome. Of course, there is the case of the sole losers coming out to complain, or sometimes you can foresee the outcome and you come out and complain as a ploy to set, the platform for you to shift to another political party. But I think it's a mistake to have them together because we lack experience, and in some cases materials, like he's saying now. And the buy setting of 50% is quite low, because we need up to like 90% in terms of sufficiency of materials for you to have a credible nomination. Okay.
Yeah. Someone would draw the differences between ODM and Jubilee. There's even a conversation online on who's worse, when it has come to this primaries. From your assessment, how can you draw comparisons between the two parties?
I think as of now, it's a little bit too early to give Jubilee that blanket condemnation.
Is it too early? With everything that you see, the fist fights and the challenges?
Yes, the challenges are similar, but Jubilee's one seems to be a little bit issues that could have been addressed at an earlier stage. And these issues were issues to do with logistics, as I said before. When you look at the issues that were brought on the ODM side, those were issues that were were experienced on the ground. And I'm giving you the case of Otuoma and Ojamong, where the votes were actually more than the number of, more than anticipated, so to speak, Betty. And that was not really something that we can say was under the control of the party during the preparation time. It came as a result of maybe plans that were afoot by the candidates themselves. And when you look at the Jubilee's one, which are more or less of logistics, and you have heard from the clip from Tuju that they actually had set the bar at 50% for every constituency or for every county. And I must say this was actually a mistake, because you do not limit the democratic space that people are supposed to enjoy. When you limit the participation, the level of participation to only 50%, then you are creating it's a recipe for chaos that you are actually brewing for yourself as the party, person who is actually charged. And you should have known better that people were eager to participate in these elections. You should have known that aspirants were really willing to mobilize their supporters to come in numbers and participate in this kind of election. And therefore, to limit people to that narrow path, that it's only people who is only 50% and below who are going to participate in this process, then he has actually shot himself on the hand.
All right. But the question, it really is, are we condemning all these parties and yet conducting an election, or the primaries that they're doing is really a hard task? Even IEBC, as grand as it is, they're facing quite a number of challenges. So is it that the parties really, it's a lot of hard work, or it's a lot of work and a big task for the parties, or is it possible to actually conduct these parties drama-free?
Betty, we should remember that these people, they are fighting for power, and the power is taken. You cannot go and convince somebody to give you that power. That is why we can see both parties a lot of complications. For example, if you see in ODM, what happened in Busia, what happened in Kajiado the other day, and what happened to Narok, these people, they are fighting. And if people are fighting for power, Betty, it is sometimes difficult for you to control them. Also, it is difficult for the government to manage all of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's now go to Jeff Kirui, who is standing by in Kericho. Jeff, thank you very much for joining us. How can you describe the situation there since morning?
Well, very good afternoon, Betty. Actually, the exercise has been postponed as per the resolution arrived at by the aspirants. They met about an hour ago. All the aspirants vying under the Jubilee ticket in Kericho, they agreed that they will be postponing the exercise until Monday. And of course, there are some demands they want from the Jubilee party. They are saying that they need fresh ballot papers, of course, of different colors and different serial numbers. And they want 100% ballot papers delivered within the county. They say that the number of ballot papers which were delivered actually are way less than what they actually expected as per the current registered voters, Jubilee registered voters, registered members within the county. And of course, they are saying that they have been defiant about the order given by the National Election Board that the exercise will go on. They say that they insist that until 100% ballot papers are delivered in Kericho, there will be no nomination of party primaries going on. Betty.
Now, that's very interesting, because a few hours ago, the Secretary General, Raphael Tuju, said that any communication, any postponement will only come from the NEB of Jubilee Party. So really, does this postponement from the aspirants really hold any water?
Well, Betty, as it is now, it does, because in Kericho there is no party or nomination exercise which has been done totally. That means there won't be anybody or any aspirant to be announced as a winner. So by all means, it means that this exercise has to be postponed until all the party members participate in the exercise. And that is a position which all the aspirants in the county appears to have actually agreed upon. And all of them actually are reading from the same page as per what they were discussing a few minutes ago in a meeting which was held indoors at Kericho T, which is the main tallying center within Kericho County. Betty.
Now, I can imagine that there are quite a number of, residents who came out to participate in this exercise, what was their reaction considering this decision that was arrived at by the aspirants? What are they saying about this? Are they feeling confident that indeed this is the right decision to make?
Well, they are waiting for the decision from the Jubilee Party officials, of course. But now the mood in the ground, there was a total displeasure by the party members, or rather the residents in Kericho, and they're actually threatening even to ditch Jubilee Party in case something is not done about the Jubilee nomination exercise. Of course, what they are reiterating is that they need a free and fair nomination exercise. They don't want what they term as imposed leadership on them, and they want to participate in the exercise to ensure that they elect or rather nominate those leaders they believe will be able to meet what they require as the residents of Kericho, and the leaders, of course, which they have confidence in to deliver what they actually need. Betty.
Thank you very much, Jeff Kirui, for that update. He's just been talking to us about the developments in Kericho, and really there's none, as the aspirants have decided that there's not going to be any primaries or nominations held there in the county today, and they're asking that the postponement be done till Monday because they feel that they need all the voting material for them to be able to participate and indeed to allow the nominations to go on as planned. We'll be waiting to hear what the Jubilee Secretariat and especially the Elections Board has to say about this decision. Let's now come back to the discussion, and I'd like to hear your final thoughts. So what next, Brian, after this? What happens to this process? Because it seems that it's going to be a long night for many counties. And what are we expecting really from this whole process for Jubilee specifically?
I think the management of the elections at the Jubilee level ought to have collected key lessons as of today, and also as of what they have learned from ODM primaries. And they ought to have picked those key lessons and enriched their systems to ensure that they are able to actually satisfy the expectations of the appointing authority. Right now, I'm sure the president is very disappointed by the outcome and the turn of events as we are talking right now, Betty. And the management of Tuju and the company, I think they can still redeem themselves by actually putting the act together. But what we are expecting right now is actually more complications in terms of the logistical aspect of it. Remember, they have, some of the counties have actually postponed their elections to Monday, others to Tuesday. And remember, there were some counties which were slated to conduct their nominations on Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah.
And therefore, this actually complicates the matrix because it again puts more pressure on the management team in terms of an enlarged, team to conduct the nomination process. And therefore, the work has been increased in terms of workload, and it's a matter of them actually ensuring that they pick key lessons that they can enrich in the management process to be able to certify the appointing authority for that matter, Betty.
All right. Henry, what should we learn in regards to the management of the general elections? Remember that in some of the places, the issue is that some people are not on the register, and that is a problem that we are probably going to be seeing quite a number of them come the election day.
One, the IEBC should learn from these primaries also, because the IEBC in charge of this country in the process of election period. And for now, we cannot throw the ball to both parties because we are waiting for the outcome of Jubilee between today to 25th. So we should learn more as we continue to observe them. Thank you.
All right, Abel, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Now, I think one of the reasons why voters don't turn out on election day to vote is lack of a transparent primary.
Okay.
Yeah, not just for Jubilee, of course, for DM as well. And I think the biggest loser is going to be the president, who does not manage the Jubilee fallout very well, especially in places like Nairobi that are very tense.
Okay.
I expect him to move in very quickly and take control. He has to
How
work
would he take control?
Now, there are some places where some of these nominations can be avoided by, talking to the aspirants and, they can sort out, they can talk, and then some candidates can move out and support others. And then, of course, he has to make sure guys who are trying to push others using unfair means told not to do that. For example, in Nairobi, there are talks of some guys trying to, push Mike Sonko out of the race. He's a very popular guy. If you push him out, and his voters will even go to another candidate. And that is going to have a very negative implication on election day for the president. And you realize he's going to be a very useful person in taking the president to some places like Ukambani to campaign. So he has to be very, very careful, because at the end of the day, it's not the small guys on the ground who are going to face the negative outcome of what's going on. It is the president. He has to take control. It's his party. And as they said earlier, there's no distinction between the party and the government. It's the party in power.
But there should be.
There should be, of course, but we don't have that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time. I've been speaking to Abel Oyeyo from the Center for African Progress, Henry Shikanda, who is a political analyst, and Brian Mutie, who is a governance expert. Thank you very much for your time. All right. So, and thank you for watching Worldview. Remember, we had our Twitter poll, and we had asked you if you think that the primaries, the Jubilee primaries, will be credible. And 20% of you say yes, indeed, they will be. And 80% say no, they will not be credible. Well,